Hi, Dr. Paul Haider here. This mind is like an unruly child. It gets out of control a lot of times, but the soul, that is always at peace, and we have that peace deep down inside of us at all times, 24/7. But how do we allow ourselves to connect when, especially with the unconscious, which is kind of showing us exactly where we're supposed to be headed on a regular basis and kind of running the show from behind the scenes. How do we connect with that? How do we um, take over that unconscious and bring it into accord with the soul? And that seems very difficult sometimes, but when reality, how do we bring the unruly child back into center and find peace like the soul? And one way is through meditation and to bring both the conscious and the unconscious back into a feeling of love, a feeling of peace, a feeling of connection, a feeling of being here and now. Another way also is through affirmation and doing mirror work and telling ourselves that how much we love God and love the one we see in the mirror, which God loves in the heart also. And a lot of people say, if you love yourself, that's kind of narcissistic. But there's two different types of love. There's one that love which is narcissistic, and I don't care about anybody, and another love which is truly love because God lives inside of us. And how can we love anybody else before we love the one we see in the mirror? It's basically impossible. I've had a lot of people come to me, and I do individual work on Skype and in person, and a lot of people don't love themselves, and their relationships never work. And because of that, it's really important that we bring about this feeling of love that we connect to inside. And another way to connect to the unconscious is to allow ourselves to be at peace and have a few rituals in our lives which ground us in a great way. Those things of prayer and chanting and singing and doing meditation and those type of things. They ground us and bring us into a place of being one with that soul. And I think that's really important, especially right now. We have, like I talked about before, we have a group of people who have given up, a huge amount of them, and a group of people who are angry, a huge amount of them, and a small group in the middle which is full of love and doing what they know they need to do in order to make a difference in the world. And when we can bring our conscious and unconscious together to a place of that peace of love, wow, would the world change in a great way? Would that be something? A lot of people have a lot of unconscious anger and a lot of unconscious, hate and that type of rage going on. And it's really important that we get rid of all that and allow our past to be the past. That doesn't really even exist anymore. Our future is going to be made up of a lot of little here and nows that end up being the future. And what we do right now is very important to create that future. And that past is already gone, done. There's nothing we can do about it at all. And a lot of people keep dwelling upon that. I know one particular girl that was dwelling on the past all the time, and she wondered why she was recreating the same type of things in her life over and over and over again. And I think that's something that we need to be aware of because we don't really think about it that much. We don't even reflect upon it. That the fact that we're doing the same things over and over again. And so life just kind of, we're on a treadmill. Ever seen those hamsters on those wheels, going around and around and around? Well, we get trapped on that thing and we don't know how to get off of it. And but the true way to find our way off of that wheel is to allow ourselves to find that great peace which dwells within. And meditation is one great way. And thus we allow the coming together of the two great factions within us, the mind and the soul. And one way to get rid of all that stuff from the past also is to make a diary and write out all the feelings that we have. It's been shown that when we take and write out everything that we feel about the past, it diffuses all of that. And I think that's why a lot of great writers would write about their feelings about things that happened in the past to them, and they became great or important writers in in the social life of the world. And because they had all these feelings they needed to put on paper, and it created a wonderful story. And everybody has a wonderful story, but in order to diffuse all that energy, we need to put it down. And not with a computer. That doesn't really connect to those feelings. We need to use our hand and cursive and write it all out. And when we do that over and over again, every morning, maybe every evening, whatever it is, usually most people do it in the evening, kind of reflect on the day and reflect on what happened in the past, and all those feelings start to disappear. And then we live more in the here and now, doing what we can do to make a difference. I think it's very important. There was a man in New York City, in Brooklyn, and he was just a simple school bus driver, and he didn't make that much money, but he would get up early in the morning, go do his a route, picking up the kids and making them happy and smiling and telling jokes with them. And at the end of the day, he would go home, and he just had a small apartment, but he had a small cook stove, and he would start cooking. He cooked a lot of meals. And then he would go stand out on the corner and give food to anybody that passed by, especially people who had nothing. And, when you're hungry, you're hungry. And they would help a lot of people who were starving, and, the street people who lived in boxes and didn't have anything. And then when they asked him, well, why do you do this? Why do you spend your own money for that? And he said, it's just the right thing to do. It's just the right thing to do. And I think it's really important that more of us start listening to that still small voice within us and understanding, for me, what is that right thing to do? What is that cause? What is that purpose that I have, which is really more important than what I do for my day job? What is that which drives me inside, which will make me feel good at the end of the day when I finally put my head on my pillow and I lay down and go to sleep, and I'm in deep sleep because I know, I made a difference. And I think that's important when I have that restful sleep, because I'm in truth with myself. I love you.